Okay, all right, Mr. or Miss, whatever you are, Moto E6 Plus. You have to come up with your own name. So type your name and then come to my class because I cannot recognize you in that way. All right. So change your name and use the registered name which is there in school's attendance register. Okay, I am now right now removing you. Okay, all right. I think I was actually recording the lesson, but I think I forgot to press the button. All right. So let me quickly give you a small okay, I'll give the summary in the end. Okay, bulk buying advantage, we were discussing that, right? So the suppliers normally offer a discount to the businesses who buy in bulk. And the reason is because now they do not need to involve themselves in so many transactions. Like so many people are actually approaching the supplier and they are actually sending the goods to them, right? It may increase the cost of the supplier as well, and it is quite hectic to deal with so many businesses, right? So instead of dealing with so many small businesses, if you are able to sell goods to one large business, so there is only one customer, obviously the supplier is also relieved from the tension of selling goods to various people or various businesses, right? It will reduce the administration cost as well. Less paperwork is involved as well, right? And less people are also there because if there are so many businesses, so you may require a large number of people who can actually address to that issue because now they have to deal with number of businesses. But here, only one business which is actually buying all the items, so it actually reduces the cost of the supplier as well and relieves the supplier from the tension of dealing with so many businesses. And supplier can focus on their own production, right? So that is why the supplier offers a discount to the businesses. So if businesses want to achieve economies of scale, they have enough capital, they are running a large business, then they will keep a high level of inventory because obviously when they will buy um, in large quantity, they will require some place to store it as well. Okay, now just I'll give you a brief summary of it. That is actually the last slide of this chapter because some students actually joined late. The we actually discuss the factors which can affect the level of inventory held by a business, whether the level of inventory should be high or low. It is actually a past paper question as well. Okay, so the first is nature of goods. If your goods are of perishable nature, they have a short shelf life. Obviously, you cannot store a large amount of such goods. So your inventory level will be low. In case of durable goods which have a long life, and you can actually keep them in your shop or in your warehouse for a longer time period because they do not go out of shape or they do not perish. So obviously, you can keep a large level of inventory. Okay, then demand forecast. Yes, if you think that the peak season is approaching or demand is going to go up, you can go for high level of inventory to meet the demand of the people. Or in case of off peak season, if it is approaching, you can go for low level of inventory. And similarly, we talked about cost of storage as well. So if you think that you deal in items which are of such nature that they require expensive storage area, and how it happens, like you deal in those items which are perishable in nature and which cannot survive in the normal temperature. So you may require a cold storage for that, and cold storage is expensive. Think about fridge, deep freezer. Okay, so in that case, you may go for low level of inventory. Otherwise, if storage is simple, like you have your own free space available where you can store the inventory or the item, then you can go for high level of inventory as well. And finally, bulk buying advantage, we discussed it that if you want to achieve, you want to gain the discount from the supplier, By buying in larger quantity, you will go for high level of inventory, but this is available for large businesses because small businesses can't do it because they do not have enough amount of capital available. All right. So any question regarding that? Anyone, newcomers or the old ones as well? I am there to answer your question regarding these 4 points. No question? All right. So that means that we can move forward. Okay. All right. Now we are going to start a new chapter. Now remember, today I will share a worksheet with you. In fact, few questions in the group, right? And you will be answering them and will be sending it back to me. Okay. The way is I told you earlier, you will be emailing me. Okay. And my I think email address is you are familiar with it, I guess. That is hassanbutt@gmail.com, and but is with single T, remember. HASSANBUT @gmail.com. You will be sending your answers uh, in my email through my sorry, using this address. Okay, you will inbox me and use your name as well so that I will come to know that who is actually sending it, and try to take a picture, okay, an image, or you can send me a word file as well. It's okay. Why I'm saying it? Because I need to modify it as well. I need to highlight your mistakes. I need to write something how to improve your answer, because I won't only give you marks. You know that the old students, they know about it. This is my tactic. Okay. Before we move on to the next chapter, so I will send you the worksheet today, and you will be submitting it to me. Today is Monday, so because the next chapter is quite lengthy, so I think Friday is the day that is actually the deadline. Although there will be fewer number of questions, but still I am giving you some time. Friday will be the last day. You will submit your assignment to me, which I'll share it today. Okay. Secondly, I actually did go through all your assignments, and I actually sent it to you as well. You know that. Okay. Now I want to discuss some common issues which I faced while checking your assignments. Right. The students who joined uh, late, they can also get to know about it, how to go about with the questions. All right. So let's see. So Alina, you were fantastic, huh? As far as your assignment is concerned, I was really amazed. Alina, are you there?
Yes, sir.
All right. So how did you do it? Alina, please speak up.
सर जैसे बाकी करता हूँ.
All right. Okay, great. No, I am just praising you. That's why I'm telling it. All right. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to discuss few of the common issues so that you can get to know what is the problem. Let me share the worksheet with you, and then we'll move on to the next chapter. Just a minute. Yeah. I hope you can see my screen. Yes, you can. So let me just a minute. Actually, I'm sharing it, but I'm not able to minimize it. Just a minute. Let me sort out this problem. I think, let me see. We have gone through it, so let me close it now. All right. Uh, just a minute. Okay, all right. Right now, I think I'm not finding any clue to minimize it, so it doesn't matter. I can discuss it with you. Let me discuss about first the term which many students they were not clear. In fact, honestly speaking, it's not that much clear even in my notes as well. So I accept that. That's why. But I did explain that in the class. But all right, this is define job. Sorry, enlargement. That was the question there, and many of the students, I guess, they were not that much clear about job enlargement. Okay, so let me explain that, and then we'll move on to the next chapter. Now, job enlargement. Actually, I told you it is a mixture of job rotation. Okay, I think screen has not been shared, so let me share it with you. Yeah, now you can see it, right? Okay, so define job enlargement was the question. So actually, it is a mixture of job rotation and job enrichment. Now, so uh, it looks quite weird. Huh? I know that. Okay, but remember, let me clarify that you can write job enlargement in that way as well. What that job enlargement basically increases the number of tasks performed by a worker. Let me write it there. There, adding more tasks to the job to reduce boredom. That is the purpose, na? You add more tasks so that the worker gets some variety in doing the job, and that boredom can be reduced, right? So adding more tasks to the job to give, sorry, to give some variety, to make reduce the boredom, because if the job is of monotonous nature, so obviously workers they lose focus because they have to do the same job again and again. So this is job. What is it? This is job rotation. You understand this? Okay. Similarly, okay, I think maybe the just a minute. I guess I have used it for job enlargement. Actually, it is part of job enlargement, but let me explain you that. This is job rotation, right? This is job rotation, right? You understand this as well. Okay, then we have job enrichment. Again, you know what is it? Job enrichment is what? Adding more responsibility, which requires higher level of skills that often involves promotion, right? Adding more responsibility. I think the res- responsibility which requires high level of skills that often involve promotion. So if a manager is promoted to a senior manager post, so obviously that will require high level of skills, and it increases the responsibility of the manager as well. This is job enrichment, right? Okay, but if I actually talk about job enrichment, basically there are three things which need to be there. Do you know what are those? One is, let me write it there for job enrichment. One is that challenging job, challenging job needs to be there. That it must challenge the worker that yes, let me see whether I have the potential to do it or not. If the job is very easy compared to the skill level of the person, so obviously the customers at times they lose focus. Okay, that is why if I talk about all van drivers, okay, or people who drive commercial vehicles, they actually often meet with an accident, and because of the same reason, because they lose focus, they actually drive the car or the vehicle carelessly because of the same reason. Okay, because the job is not challenging anymore at all. So and they know how to do it. So and that leads to inefficiency and it causes accidents, right? All right. So one is job needs to be challenging for job enrichment. Okay. Second is feedback must be given. Feedback must be given to all of the workers who are performing the job. Why? Because obviously they need to know what management is thinking about them. A word of appreciation, a pat on the shoulder. So this is really required. So feedback from the manager side is required that yes, you are going in the right direction. You are up to the mark. You are efficient, right? And actually, we discussed it. We Herzberg theory of motivation. So job enrichment is one of the factor over there because there the recognition appreciation of the worker is extremely important to motivate the worker. And we discussed that, I think, when we were discussing motivation theory. So that is all about job enrichment. Herzberg actually was in the favor of job enrichment, although the word was not used, but the Herzberg was of the same view that the satisfaction must come directly from the job. And we discussed it, intrinsic factors. It's not about the working environment. It's not about the relationship between the employee and the managers. It's not about even the salary. It's about whether the job gives you the player and the satisfaction you want or not. So that is there. And we actually the Holzberg two-factor theory we discussed the motivators. We call them motivators. The satisfaction which is obtained directly from the job. And the third one was complete units. Now, what does it mean, complete units? Complete units means complete independence. Once you start your job, there should not be anyone to interfere, and you should be responsible for the whole job. So that once the job is completed, you will be credited for it. Remember, because if you are not responsible for complete jobs, so some other team member can take the credit as well. Na? Okay, because the job has been, let's say a table is being manufactured and four workers are responsible to do it. So if the job is done well, so who will be praised? Obviously all four. Doesn't matter who actually performed more than other workers, nobody knows. And even if one worker has performed diligently and actually consumed more time and was very cautious, still no extra reward will be given to that worker. So that's why when complete units are given, complete jobs are given to the worker and they are responsible, so they get the independence and they know that they will be appreciated for that job because they are the only people who are responsible to complete that job. So these are the three conditions for job enrichment. Now, okay, I just explained you the concepts of job rotation and job rotation. Sorry, job. Sorry, I think there is something wrong. Just a minute, because job rotation, though, abhi I did not explain it. I explained job enlargement, right? This was job enlargement when you add more tasks, right? For example, a lady who is there in a restaurant or in an office, um, is responsible to attend customers, entertain guests, receive people who are coming from outside. Okay. Now, if the lady is given another task to receive phone calls as well, okay, or to arrange files as well. Now, this is giving some variety to the lady. All right, this is adding more tasks. Although the time frame will be the same, that might be 9 to 5 in a day, but now more tasks are there, more variety is there, so the boredom might be reduced in that case. So this is job enlarge. You can define that in that way as well, but as an A level student, you need to understand that as well, which I am explaining you, and that is job enlargement. This is a simple definition. which you can use, I'm saying, okay? Simple one, okay, for job enlargement, okay? But another way to define job enlargement is that it includes job rotation and job enrichment. Job enrichment, I just explained you, okay? I think it should be clear to you. Now, if I talk about job rotation, so we need to discuss that as well. Job rotation is, and what is it? When workers are swapped from one job to another, requiring almost the same skills. Same skills. Now, when workers are swapped, now workers, you actually change the position of the workers where they are working. Okay, just to make them realize that now this is a different environment. A job is different. It might require the same skill, but still, it can. Again, the purpose is to reduce the boredom which is there, right? Same skill. So I'm writing it again. The purpose is to reduce the boredom, to change the nature of the job. But the problem is, uh, I'm writing it, boredom is removed for a very short time period, because the almost the same level of skill is there. No challenging work is there at all, as in case of job enrichment, right? So boredom is removed, but for a very short time period, and soon the workers feel boredom again. So maybe this is not a good way in the longer run. In short term, you can do it. I'm telling you. So, and it happens. I'm telling you, the managers, they do it. Once I was a manager as well, and I used to do the same, changing the positions of the workers. And but for those jobs which almost have the same skill level, because you cannot actually ask a waiter to do a job of a chef. This is just not possible. Why? Because the skill is entirely different. So this can't be done. Job rotation not possible in that case. Now I will talk about job enlargement now. Now, two words which are very important. One, deepening and widening. Right? Now, when I say deepening and widening, these are the two words. Okay, you increase the scope of the job. Okay, okay, increase the scope of the job. You are increasing the scope of the job by deepening and widening the tasks required. Now, this actually includes what? Both job rotation and enlargement. But if let's say you increase the scope of the job, but it is not a challenging job, there is no feedback from the management side, and workers are not responsible for complete units. So we'll call it, it can be a job rotation. It can't be job enrichment, but still it will be called job enlargement, because job enlargement can be job rotation, it can be job enrichment as well. Now, if I talk about deepening, now deepening means now we are talking about what? This is about job enrichment, okay? Because deepening here means that we are talking about vertically. So it means, for example, you are moving up the hierarchy, up the level, right? So this is job enhancement. When we talk about widening, it means now you might be given variety of tasks, or you might be swept from one job to another. So this is widening of the task, because after every week or so you are given a new task, maybe a new job requiring the same level of skill. This is job rotation when I talk about widening the task. And deepening, obviously, it involves job enrichment. Okay, and we call another term which we use for it is, let me use it there. We call it vertical expansion, right? Vertical expansion. This is purely used for job enrichment, because now you are moving up the level of management, right? You have been promoted, let's say. So this is how the word deepening and widening, they are related with job rotation and job enlargement. So you can use both of them it's up to you. But I have explained it because I feel that maybe the you are not that much clear about it. Now, any question regarding the term job enlargement? Because I have just actually decomposed it. Yes. Any question from anybody? 25 students are there. So no question. It means that you all are absolutely clear. Is it so? Hamza Amin, is that okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, great. Now that was one of the question which was there. And can anybody tell me what was the other question alongside job enlargement? Okay. I can discuss that later as well. So I think let me see whether